Thank you for joining us today at A Light Has Dawned Christian Podcast. Please take a moment to visit alighthasdawned.org to get connected with us. We want to know what great things God is doing in your life through this ministry. Also, if you would like to support our ministry financially, you may do so there. Please prepare your heart to hear this message from our team. We pray it will enhance your walk with God. Hey everyone, and welcome to A Light Has Dawned. We're glad you're here with us today, and today with us we have Kyle Mercer. Kyle, say hello to everyone.
Hey everybody.
Yeah, man, glad to have Kyle here. He's one of my best friends. We have served in ministry together for about 3 years now. Yeah, we play in the band, the Bearded Moose together. We've went and done evangelism everywhere together, and very thankful to have Kyle here with us today. Kyle, thank you.
It's good to be here, brother.
So Kyle, you're married, right?
I am.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your family.
My family. So originally I am from Alma, and my wife is from Alma.
Yeah.
We went to high school together. And
Mm-hmm.
funny story, I guess. In ninth grade, I was in ninth grade. She was in 10th,
Mm-hmm.
and apparently she had the hots for me. So we were in a math class together, and I was in an advanced math class, and I'm still not sure why I was in there. But so she started asking, she would, talk with me every now and then, and apparently it became a bet between her and her mom that if she would ask me out, her mom would get her a pair of shoes she'd been wanting. So
Nice.
she asked me out to prom. And I was a ninth, she was in 10th, she was a class officer, so she was able to go to prom. And so she asked me out to prom.
Oh, snap.
And we went to prom, and then soon after that, we started dating, and as some people know in Alma, I dated the coach's daughter. I always tell people I don't know if that was brave or dumb, but it seemed to work out. So we dated all through high school, all through college. We got married my last year in college. We've been dating almost 10 years before we got married. And,
Wow.
you would think we knew each other pretty well, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
And so we got married, and about 9 months after we were married, we were pregnant with our first child, Dallas. Have a 6-year-old little girl now, a 3-year-old little boy, and they're absolutely balls of energy.
No.
So, that's our family portrait, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
So we've been married. This December will be 8 years.
Man, that's
if you were to
awesome.
ask her, she may not know how long it's been. Probably seems like
forever.
80 years. And so we've been together actually 18 years, but this
18
December
years.
will be 8 years being married.
Man,
So,
that's awesome. That's so cool. So, Kyle, what are you doing now in ministry?
now in ministry, I'm doing some evangelism,
Mm-hmm.
traveling around, but I'm also, actually this coming Wednesday, I'm going to be voted on at a church
Oh,
to be their associate pastor and youth pastor. So,
nice.
but not only that, I'm able to go into schools during the week and minister to kids, love on kids. I now live in Appleton County, so we're able to go into school during the week.
All right.
We go in the middle schools on Tuesdays, we go into high schools on Thursdays, on Wednesdays we go into school, so it's basically every day you go into school and love on kids.
It's awesome.
So just the other day I was kind of running numbers about how many kids possibly we come in contact with. It's about 3,000 kids a week.
Right.
And so that's what I spend most of my time doing. I also do baseball lessons on the side, baseball, softball lessons. And again, that's just another way to minister to kids and love on kids. So
Now that school program, what's it called?
it's called Make a Difference.
Make a Difference.
Make a Difference. It's been around in Baxley for about 30 years.
Right.
It was started by a guy who is still with us. We call him Pops. His name's Roy McClung.
Pops.
He calls himself the old man of the group. But Roy's known for his hugs.
Right.
Roy hugs like no other. We always say if a light pole would hug him back, he'd hug it, and he still hugs some probably. But so Roy started about 30 years ago, and actually now it's voluntary, but actually now the permission form goes home in the school packet, so
Right.
it's just a part of the school culture now.
Right.
And so what the kids do is they have an opportunity whether to go to lunch on Tuesdays in middle school or come to the chorus room where we're able to minister to them, and we have huge turnouts.
Now, who all else is in that group? Because there's a lot of like youth leaders and youth pastors, right? That consist
There's
of that
a group. There's a group of youth pastors, and we have a couple of pastors that go in with us. There's about 16 or 17 if you put them all together. And
Right.
on any given day, there's between 8 and 12 of us there.
Man, that's awesome.
Um,
Like what churches and like are they from and what's their name?
Some of them in Apple County, you got Calvin Morris from
Mhm.
Christ Community, Tiffany Switzer and Adam Thomas from Mount Vernon,
Love those guys.
Kristen Knight, who is about to marry Caleb Folsom, so
Oh, yeah.
she was at Dunn Memorial, now she's at Baxley Free Will.
Yeah.
Let me think. Roy is from Christ Community,
Mm-hmm.
Mark Dowd from Zion, Gary Horton from Big Oaks Church of God,
Yep.
Jordan Ball from Baxley Church of God, Stephanie Allen from Sand Hill Baptist Church.
Man,
And so, I mean, the list just goes.
Just
James
on.
Francis from 10 Mile. The list just goes on and on and on. Yeah.
So many people, man, that's awesome. Now, didn't y'all actually last year were really on fire? There were a lot of salvations come out of.
Yeah. What happens is during the year, we go into ministry. Then at the end of the year, the 8th grade is in charge. It's all student led, but
Right.
at the end of the year, they have an assembly for the whole middle school, and they'll come in by grade. So you have 6th grade come in, 7th grade come in, 8th grade come in, and 8th grade is the student leaders of it. So they'll share their testimonies, they'll have dramas, they'll lead worship, and then at the very end, usually a youth pastor will step up and just present the gospel. But yeah, in the last year, I believe there was over 60 salvations on the day
Wow.
of assembly. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's awesome. Now, back to more about you, Kyle. So you've been with Stephanie 18 years now. Wasn't there one point that y'all almost separated? Isn't that correct?
Yeah, there was a point, it was about a year after we were married, a little over a year after we were married. We had a lot of marriage problems, and we were actually separated for 4 months. We were
Oh, wow.
actually separated for 4 months. And during that time, God began to work on both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, that's what it took, I believe, for God to get our attention.
All right.
So after 4 months, we went to marriage counseling, we went to different things, and I'm a prideful man, like most of us.
Yeah.
I'm a prideful man, and so it took me a while to be able to listen
Right.
to what anybody had to say. But God got a hold of me during that time, and He brought me back to my family. One of the verses I was reading in the Bible during that time, you know, I didn't grow up in church. I didn't grow up around the gospel. I didn't grow up around a lot of godly people. But during that time, I read a verse in the Bible. I had started reading the Bible.
Yeah.
And so I read a verse in the Bible that said, what God has put together, man must not separate.
Hmm.
And so that kind of hit me. And, you know, during that time, little did I know, I was lost. But God began to put our marriage back together. He began to restore our marriage. And after we got back together, He began to restore our marriage. We got plugged into a church. And within about 2 months, I was actually saved. And then about a month later, I actually was able to lead my wife to Christ. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
you know, I was told during that time we were going through all our problems that you never name your valley while you're in the middle of it, because
Yeah.
it may be the greatest blessing you've ever received. And now looking back on it, now when you're in the middle of it, you can't see that.
Right.
But now looking back on it, that was one of the greatest blessings of my life, is the downfall, I guess. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So you know we've heard about the you know how you know the breaking point and how you you know got to mend everything, you know, by surrendering to God. What led up to that? Like what really caused the issue in the marriage? You know.
One of the things was I was a high school teacher and a coach,
Mm-hmm.
and I love sports. I still do,
Right.
but I love sports to the point that they were my everything, I guess. You
Yeah.
know, I had a new wife at home. I had a 9-month-old at home,
Yeah.
and sports was my everything. And ultimately, you know, because I was in sports, because I was so enthroned in it, I was a football coach, baseball coach, and basketball coach at one point.
Wow.
So that doesn't leave a lot of room for your family, and it's kind of overwhelmed by it. You know, my days would consist of teaching school, coming home, watching film, and going to bed and do it again.
Yeah.
So, and during this time also, you know, I was an alcoholic,
Mm-hmm.
and so just a lot of marital problems, but it ultimately come down to I had started looking for attention in other places,
Right.
and I had an affair, and it was not a physical affair, but the Bible calls an affair. And so
Yeah.
I had an affair, and that's what ultimately I think was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Right.
And it's a good thing it did. But I walked away from that, and then the marriage counseling come. But you heard me say that we were separated, so it took me a while to even hear anything from the marriage counseling side of things. But once I began to listen, God began to speak. And that's what it kind of took to get me there.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things in my life I'd have done differently.
Yeah.
But
You and me both.
I'm thankful for all of it.
Yeah.
On this side.
Because if you had never went through that, you know, who's to say you would be here now?
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
sharing your story.
Yeah.
Now you also grew up with a like a rough childhood too. Could you care to
Yeah.
elaborate? You don't have to go in full detail,
Well, yeah. I mean, I grew up in a broken home. My parents were divorced. I believe at the age of 4. I was about so young I don't really remember it, but my parents got divorced when I was about the age of 4, and so I grew up in a broken home, and for a while early in my childhood, it was kind of rough. Parents they weren't abusive to me by any means, but a lot of marital problems in their life, and I think I saw that growing up. And when I got older, I just thought that was the norm.
Yeah.
But and they've grown past that today. I love my parents, but just at a young age, even in our family, we all have crazy families, but. Just seeing some things that happened in our family and the way my parents were treated in some sorts and the way they treated other people in some cases, just seeing things when I was young, it really affected me growing up.
Yeah.
And so, some of those things, that you have wounds that are healed, but you still have scars. And so a lot of those things had to be healed up and restored. And so, yeah, and I grew up here in Alma.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people knew me. A lot of people thought, he's a good kid on the surface, and I
Right.
was. I mean, in high school, I was a pretty good kid, but I was by no means an angel,
Yeah.
of course. But
Yeah.
so yeah, growing up here, seen a lot.
Yeah.
Went through a lot at a young age, but those types of things happen every day, and I believe God's used that in my life to help people who are going through kind of the same things in that stage of their life, because I guess I've been through it.
Now, also, haven't you also found out the man you thought was your dad growing up is not actually your dad anymore? You found out that you've actually met your real dad now.
Yeah. So about 6 months ago, I got a message, and I was pastoring a church, and I was visiting some of our church members in the hospital. And I got a message when I was going in, and I didn't read it till it come out. But long story short, the man that I've been calling my dad all my life, I found out was not actually my dad. And so I found out that my dad, who was actually my real father, I got to meet him about 6 months ago. So I have a 19-year-old sister, and I would have had a 14-year-old brother, but he died in an ATV accident about 3 years ago. And so even at 30 years old, that's hard to kind of take in.
Yeah, that'd be hard
to process. Yeah. But I got to meet him, and I got to meet my family, and they've been really supportive. I mean, a lot of times when I've been speaking in ministry, they'll show up. And it was interesting when it happened, because I just, took on my first pastoral job, and I had a lot on me with a new week before my ordination service. And
it's perfect timing.
But, it all works out. I say my new dad.
Yeah.
My dad all my life didn't know it, but my new dad, he was able to come to an ordination service and bring his family. And
that's gotta be special.
so it's been good. We have a really good relationship, and we're still growing. We're still trying to figure out who each other are.
Yeah.
And so it's been an interesting transition process, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's been good. I think growing up, for a little while, I was angry about it.
Oh, yeah.
Just
rightfully so.
I would like to know 30 in the past 30 years. But I think growing up, if I would have found out maybe when I was a teenager, I wouldn't have been able to handle it.
Yeah.
So I think God just gave me things right when I could handle it, and right when He knew that I was ready. And so, yeah.
I got you. So, man, you've been through so much in your life, and it's amazing to see that you're serving God the way you are. So you've youth pastored. You've done evangelism. You even sing and play music. all this stuff, you know, so with a past like that, you know, and it doesn't seem to affect you.